I first suspected something was wrong with my marriage the day my wife corrected someone about who I was. We were at a charity fundraiser, one of those quiet, expensive events where everyone speaks softly and pretends not to judge one another. My wife, Naomi, stood beside me in a navy blue dress she wore only for occasions that mattered to her. She was radiant, calm, untouchable. A donor approached us and said, "You must be Naomi's husband." Naomi smiled politely. "He's my partner," she said, "in life. Not husband, partner." The man nodded awkwardly and walked away. I laughed it off. People use words differently, I told myself. But the word husband had always meant something to Naomi. She used to say it proudly, like a title she'd earned. That night she avoided it as if it were outdated. We had been married for 26 years. Naomi was a clinical psychologist, respected, published, always composed. She built her career on understanding people's minds, their pain, their secrets. I was a systems analyst, steady, invisible, predictable. I used to think we balanced each other. That night she drove home in silence. "You were quiet," I said. "Just tired," she replied, eyes fixed on the road. She had been tired a lot lately. That night I lay awake listening to her breathe. Even in sleep she seemed controlled, as if she'd trained herself never to fully let go. The next few weeks I noticed patterns. She started waking earlier than usual. She locked her study door. She scheduled personal retreats every few months. She stopped asking about my day. When I spoke, she listened, but only long enough to respond politely, the way professionals do when they're no longer emotionally involved. Then came the envelope. It arrived by courier while she was at work. Thick, cream-colored, no sender name. Inside were assessment forms, psychological evaluations, handwritten notes in Naomi's handwriting, not patient files, mine. Subject exhibits emotional dependency masked as loyalty, displays fear of abandonment, derives identity from being needed. Marriage provides security but inhibits growth. I sat at the kitchen table for a long time, reading those words again and again. My life reduced to clinical observations. She hadn't spoken to me about any of this. She hadn't asked how I felt. She had studied me. That night I asked her directly, "Are you analyzing me?" She froze, just for a second. Then she smiled, the calm, therapeutic smile she used on clients. "Daniel," she said gently, "everyone analyzes everyone. I just have language for it." That answer didn't comfort me. A month later I found the calendar. She kept it hidden in her laptop, not synced to the family one. The entries were coded. Session R, extended. Reflection window. Boundary reinforcement. One entry stood out. Transition phase. Decision. Finalization date circled. I confronted her that night. "What decision?" I asked. She sighed, sat down, folded her hands. "I've been preparing for a necessary change," she said calmly. "I didn't want it to feel sudden. Preparing, like a project." "You're planning to leave," I said. She didn't deny it. "I've outgrown this marriage," she said. "I don't say that to hurt you." "But you stayed," I said, "for years." "Yes," she replied, "because you were stable, because you were safe." Safe, not loved. I slept on the couch that night. The next day, curiosity turned into survival instinct. I went into her study while she was out. Behind the bookshelf was a locked cabinet. Inside were files labeled by dates, years of notes. Not just about me, about our marriage. She had been documenting our arguments, my reactions, my silences, my compromises. Every moment of vulnerability reframed as weakness. Every attempt to connect labeled as dependency. She was building a case, not legally, psychologically. She wanted to leave without guilt. She wanted to believe she was justified. At the bottom of the cabinet was a folder titled After. Apartment listings, solo travel plans, a new professional bio, single, independent, unencumbered. No mention of me. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I didn't ask for counseling. I simply stopped participating. I stopped initiating conversation, stopped cooking her favorite meals, stopped rearranging my life around hers. She noticed. "Are you withdrawing?" she asked one evening. "No," I said. "I'm detaching." She looked unsettled, not hurt, unprepared. 2 weeks later, she asked for a separation. I agreed before she finished the sentence. That surprised her. "You're not going to fight?" she asked. "I already did," I replied. "You just didn't notice." The separation was clean. Too clean. She moved into a minimalist apartment downtown. I stayed in the house for a while, then sold it. Friends were confused. They thought she was brave, evolving, courageous. No one asked how it felt to be studied by the person who once loved you. The divorce finalized quietly. No cheating, no scandal, just a woman who analyzed her husband until she no longer needed him. A year later, she emailed me. "Do you feel lighter now?" she asked, after letting go. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I replied, "I stopped feeling like a subject the day I left." I never heard from her again. 3 years later, I live alone by choice, not abandonment. I teach part-time. I write. I speak when I want to, stay silent when I don't. Sometimes I think about Naomi, not with anger, not even sadness, but with understanding. Some people don't leave because they stop loving you. They leave because they've already rewritten the story in their head, and you no longer fit the narrative. And the most painful betrayal isn't infidelity. It's being emotionally studied, documented, and erased, while still being told you were loved.